fellow Movie Crusaders. Welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name is Sean Wascrew, and today we're going to review the latest in the MCU films, Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, for anyone who knows me, knows that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I've loved most of the Spider-Man movies that have come out, whether it be the Tobey Maguires, the Andrew Garfields, or now the Tom Hollands, or even the Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was one of my favorite movies last year, and Spider-Man Homecoming is one of my favorite MCU films, so I was real excited when Spider-Man Far From Home was coming out, mainly, obviously, because of Tom Holland being Spider-Man, but I was super excited for Jake Gyllenhaal's potential performance of Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio. Mysterio is a phenomenal villain in the Marvel Comics that I could not wait to see on the big screen in live action. Plus, with the events of Endgame, this was definitely something that I was looking forward to because we knew that this was going to lead right into the next steps into the MCU. So the possibilities of what was going to go on with these characters was wide open, and I was super excited to see this film. So let's go ahead and jump into the review and see what I thought of it. So the general plot of Spider-Man Far From Home is, so basically, they don't really give an exact time frame for how long it's been since the events of Endgame, but it's still within a certain fresh period of it. Basically, because of the events, it makes it seem like the entire high school that Peter went to got snapped. So basically, the school decided that every one of those students had to retake whatever grade they were in. So that's why Peter, even though it's 5 years later from Endgame, all his classmates from Homecoming are back in high school in this one instead of being off to college or even out of college. But basically, they're all going on a European science trip. They're going to hit, like, Venice and Paris and stuff like that. But yeah, so in terms of where the characters are right now, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, he's still kind of going through the loss of Tony Stark, aka anyone who hasn't seen Endgame yet, spoilers for Endgame. And the big thing that he's running through right now is his identity. He's still a kid, after all. He's still a high school kid. He still just wants to be that neighborhood Spider-Man, and he doesn't really want to be what the Avengers are doing. He just wants to be a normal kid going on a trip and potentially starting a relationship with MJ, played by Zendaya. But obviously it's a Spider-Man movie, so stuff is going to happen. There are these creatures that are dubbed the Elementals, who are different creatures that basically are the 6 types of elements, such as like water, fire, dirt, wind. And they are wreaking havoc in the European cities. And Nick Fury is looking to Spider-Man to step up and become the Avenger that he needs to be and to stop these creatures. When Peter is not quite up to it because of him just wanting to be a kid and go on a vacation, in comes Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio, who is a mysterious character from a different world, or different Earth, who's willing to come in and stop these creatures and also develop a friendship with Peter in its wake. So that's the general plot of the film without going too far into it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and go with what works for this film. Now, this review is going to be very hard to talk about because I have to tiptoe all around everything to not have spoilers. I feel like the plot was already too much that I shared. So if I say things that just sound kind of vague, or you can see that I really want to say something, but I just kind of have to hold back, it's because I'm doing my best to not spoil anything for you, because some of the things that happen in this film are huge. And revealing them in a spoiler, or in a review, not real cool in my opinion. So this is, like I said, this is a non-spoiler review, so I'm going to do my best to kind of go over this without giving away anything. But I will be I'm currently in the process of planning a spoiler review here sometime in the next week, where we can kind of go into detail of the events that happened in the film. Of course, what works, Tom Holland has really come into his own as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and while a lot of people have said, oh, Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield's the best Peter Parker, best Spider-Man, yada. Tom Holland has officially kind of jumped up and is now officially, in my opinion, the best Peter Parker, best Spider-Man. He has embodied this role. He has taken this role over, and now he is 100% my Spider-Man. Not that he wasn't already, but this movie has cemented his iconic self as the web slinger. Tom Holland does a fantastic job in the film. He does something in a way with Peter Parker that we have not seen before. While it does kind of follow the same tropes of what other ones have done, the main thing that he's doing is we're seeing a lot of growth with the character. He's still in high school, where with the other Spider-Man films, once we get into the sequels, they're already in college or they're kind of an adult. He's still a kid, and he's got all this burden on his shoulders to lead and to be this superhero and all this responsibility. And I'm not going to quote the infamous line from Spider-Man because we all know it. But he literally just lost his mentor in Tony Stark. He's still heartbroken over it, and he just wants to be a kid. He doesn't want to have to worry about saving the world, and a lot of that weighs on him. So when all this stuff starts coming at him, he starts to kind of break. And then even when he's in Spider-Man outfit, he constantly keeps getting asked the same question over and over again, which is, so are you the new Iron Man now that Tony Stark is dead? And every time he gets asked that, it literally causes him to have a panic attack, because in this film, Tony is plastered all over this film, and Peter can't escape him. So it's very hard to mourn your mentor when he's constantly looking at you, whether it be through pictures or in memoriams, videos, or stuff like that. And so the spirit of Tony Stark, not a physical spirit, don't act like there's not a ghost of Tony Stark haunting him, but the pressure of Tony Stark is haunting Peter throughout this entire film. And Tom Holland does a beautiful job of relaying that to us and breaking it down for a person who's really just has so much pressure, who can't fail, and even though he wants to be a kid, he just can't be a kid. Zendaya, I wasn't a fan of her in the first film because she just played kind of like the outsider who's too cool for anybody and just kind of not snobby-ish, but kind of just like a dickish kind of character. And I was just like, that Mary Jane doesn't really work for me. It's not the character that I know, and it's not something that I like. In this film, they actually give Zendaya as Mary Jane a better story arc and a better explanation of her character, to the point where we understand why she is the way she is, why she was like that, why she currently is like that. And we also understand how Peter likes her. Because in the first film, there's no romantic connection to them at all. And this movie literally jumps in with Peter already liking her. So we get some great explanations and some visuals of why they like one another, or why Zendaya's MJ is the character that we see now. And it makes me actually like her character more. So Zendaya definitely does a fantastic job overall of bringing MJ full circle, and us kind of basically being okay with the way the character is. And I mean, it shows cracks in her armor, and she is a character who is not afraid to call out her faults. And because of that, we're able to understand her and actually like her more. Jake Gyllenhaal. I can't say too much about his performance because of spoilers, but Jake Gyllenhaal does a fantastic job as Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio. He was a joy to watch throughout the entire film. And I can't say much more than that. Just know that I love Jake Gyllenhaal in this film. Of course, and Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. To me, this is the best Jon Favreau we've had out of all the MCU films. I loved his performance of Happy Hogan. There's more for Happy to do in this film than there was in the previous Iron Man films and Spider-Man film, and I thought Favreau did a fantastic job for that throughout. Of course, you also got Marissa Tomei. You've got Jacob Batalon as Ned. Ned's still funny. He's not as in it as he's not as funny or as in it as much as in Homecoming, but he does a great job in it overall. It's still Ned. We love Ned. Tony Ravioli. Sorry. As Flash, he's still got his great one-liners. He's still an enjoyable bully to watch. And Gory Rice, who plays Betty Brant, she was kind of just like a one-off character in Homecoming. She has a lot more character development in this and a lot more to do. And so she was kind of a surprise to see her pop up in the film and actually grow as a character. And then two standouts for me is Martin Starr and J.B. Smoove. They play Mr. Harrington and Mr. Dell. They're the teachers who are chaperoning the trip. They have great back and forth. They have great comedic timing throughout the film, and they bring a lot of levity to the roles and a lot of the humor when they're on screen. And I thought, especially Martin Starr, does a fantastic job of being funny throughout the film. The action sequences are gorgeous. Some of the best action sequences I've seen in any Spider-Man film to date. I'm going to tiptoe around this as best I can. There is one particular scene near the end of the second act of the film. I was in love with every frame that they shot of this scene. It is one of my favorite scenes of the MCU now. And every as I was watching it, every single shot, I was just in awe and was loving every moment of it. And that's all I can say about it. I'm sure if you guys watch the movie, you guys are going to know the exact scene I'm talking about. The whole third act, beautifully shot. Everything looks gorgeous. The fight choreography, the way Spider-Man has to move around and do certain things and how to adjust based off of how the storyline's going is beautifully well done. And like I said, Tom Holland does a fantastic job overall. I love the character building of the story. I mean, this is still a coming-of-age film about a high school kid. And with the events that we saw of Endgame, it's even more so because you're building on the building blocks of that. There's just so much I liked about this film. Also, I cannot stress this enough. Please understand me when I say this. I know that some people don't stay for the post-credit scenes. Because either A, they're not important, or they're just a little joke. You must stay for both post-credit scenes. There's a mid-credit scene, and there's a post-credit scene. These are the most important post-credit scenes that we have ever gotten in an MCU. The mid-credit scene is the actual ending to Spider-Man, and the post-credit scene lines you up with what Phase 4 is going to be. And I was thrown on my ass from the mid-credit scene. I went from applauding, being so happy with what I was seeing, to going, what the F? Holy crap, how is this, what's going to happen with Spider-Man now? And then with the second end credit scene, going, what does this mean for the MCU? Where are we going? So many questions, no answers. I'm floored by it. So when you guys go see Spider-Man, please stay for the entire thing, all the way through. These post-credit scenes are incredibly important, and they need to be watched by everybody. I think that's all I can really talk about for what works without going too much deeper into spoiler. What doesn't work? Not a whole lot. I will say that they do come up with a saying for everybody coming back from the snap. Wasn't a fan of that. It's literally a word. I just wasn't a fan of the word. I'm trying to reach here. I'm trying to find stuff I didn't like. I will say up till a certain point in the film does feel a little too clean or a little too tight. Where it was just like boom, 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 and it needed to get a little messy. But then right when I was thinking that, it got super messy and in the best possible way. So for the first half of the film, it's not that it's bad, it's just that you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, for something to, because you're watching it like, based off of where we're going right now, I don't know how the third act's going to play out. Because the way everything's going, I don't see a third act. And then you finally get this thing that happens in the film. You're like, okay, here we go. This is what's going to happen. I can't wait. So some people might have a little issue with the first half of the film compared to the second half, or vice versa. Kind of depends on what kind of moviegoer you are. Other than that, I really don't have anything negative to say about the film. I loved this movie. I thought it was a fantastic film. It is the perfect lead off to after the effects of Endgame. It's the perfect way to end Phase 3 and leading us into Phase 4. Like I said, Tom Holland is the Spider-Man for us. So overall, one of my favorite films of the year so far. I cannot wait for the next Spider-Man film whenever it's coming. And I can't wait to see what Marvel does next with their onslaught of food. Because that's the thing, is we don't know what's coming out next for the MCU. This is the most in the dark we've ever been for the MCU. We don't know what movie's next after this one. All we knew was this one. We don't know what's coming next. We don't know where we're going with it. And I can't wait. MCU has me in their seats no matter what film it is. And definitely looking forward to it. And I would say this too, if you guys have not seen Endgame yet, or any of the most recent MCU films, you're going to get lost in this film, because a lot of it relies heavily on the after effects of Endgame, and then something in another film that I can't talk about because of certain spoilers. But it actually does call all the way back to the very, very first film in Iron Man. So it does touch base throughout films of the MCU. So there are a lot of callbacks. And you seeing all those movies and knowing all those movies will help you along the way. It doesn't make it unwatchable for people who haven't, but it definitely would help you out if you have seen them. So I highly, highly recommend Spider-Man Far From Home. Go out of your way to see this movie. Have fun. It's definitely a summer film. It's definitely a popcorn movie. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna feel sad at certain moments, and you're gonna enjoy the action because everything looks gorgeous in this film. So going in to our top 10 of 2019, and I apologize, in the last review for Midsummer, I actually left this part out. So this is going to be a reveal for both films, since I forgot about it. So both Midsummer and Spider-Man Far From Home do crack the top 10. So going to the top 10 list, Toy Story 4 is still going to be at number 1, with Avengers Endgame at number 2, Rocket Man at number 3, Spider-Man Far From Home debuting at the number 4 spot for me, with Booksmart at number 5, Us at number 6, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum at number 7, with Midsummer coming in at number 8, with Long Shot at number 9, and Child's Play at number 10, with Brightburn falling out of the top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the channel so that way you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on Sean's Movie Crusades on YouTube. And also don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. And don't forget to leave your comments. Let me know what you thought of Spider-Man. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What parts did you like? What parts didn't you like? Be wary of spoilers. Don't spoil this for people. Let them come and see this with their own eyes. And like I said, I'm working on getting a show together where we are going to discuss the movie with spoilers. So if you guys want to know how I feel about certain things that happen in the film, be on the lookout for that. It's probably going to be happening here in the next few days to the next week. And then next week also, Stuber, the Dave Bautista, Kumail Nanjiani comedy is coming out, so be on the lookout for the review for that. Until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.